What's going on, people? Welcome back. Welcome straight back to United View. We have not been gone for long. We said we'll probably be seeing you in the not too distant. Sirens in the chat now. Get all your sirens in the chat.
It's always the way, by the way. I'm telling you, they do it on purpose.
They do it on purpose because they know it's big news, mate. They know it's big news. Man United have confirmed that Ruben Amorim is...
Wait first, Flex. Wait.
Okay.
Breaking news.
Mr. the Comedian.
Yes, I just wanted to be a part of it. Come on!
I timed it with the jingle perfectly.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I just wanted to be a part of this. This is brilliant. This is good news. Yeah, and you lot have a great show. I'm in the chat, but this is great. This is good. And,
Ask him. I've seen people put in the chat. They're saying about Rubes. Is that what we're doing? Rubes.
Yeah. Flex says, "Are we doing Rubes? Is that what we're doing?"
It's Rubes. Yep, Rubes in. And that's D&D. That's not mine. I didn't make that one up. He's done that in the chat.
There you go. Okay.
So,
I'm sure we'll get your thoughts later on the Trinity.
On the Trinity.
See you
on the Trinity.
See you on the Trinity.
All right.
Just needed to be a part of it.
Yeah, I was only talking to him about half an hour ago as well, just about life.
And he's in the chat. He's in the chat as well.
Yeah, in the chat. There you go. And someone else did say it. Rubes. Yes, Manchester United have confirmed. Breaking news this last 20 minutes that Ruben Amorim is the new Man United head coach. Okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
Coach. Very interesting. Shows what me and Owen knew or know, because we were like, I just don't know how they can say it before and this, that, and the other. It's all out there now. Let's get into it. Man United have made a statement, official statement. What does it say?
It's a very short one, to be honest, Flex. Very, very short indeed. You can see him right there. Pensive, the thinker, Ruben Amorim, with that picture there. Manchester United is delighted to announce the appointment of Ruben Amorim as head coach of the men's first team, subject to work visa requirements. He will join until June 2027 with a club option of an additional year once he has fulfilled his obligations to his current club. He will join Manchester United on Monday, the 11th of November. Of course, that's in the international break. A little bit on him, but no quotes or comments from anyone like you would expect from Dan Ashworth or anything like that. It's very short, very sweet, very sharp, saying Ruben is one of the most exciting and highly rated young coaches in European football, highly decorated as both a player and a coach. His titles include winning the Primeira Liga twice in Portugal with Sporting, the first of which was the club's first title in 19 years. Ruud van Nistelrooy will continue to take charge of the team until Ruben joins. And that's it. That's the statement.
We've waited all that time just for this.
Exactly, very short. But like you said, Flex, obviously parts of it, I suppose, aren't too surprising. The start date, we kind of already knew at this point that Ruud was going to be taking the next 3 games, 4 if you include the game against Leicester midweek. So he'll be joining in the international break, Amorim. And also confirmation of the era of managers at Manchester United, the Manchester United manager. That era is over. That is done. There were reports and rumors, weren't there, in the summer about Erik ten Hag with his new contract. Was he going to become the new head coach? INEOS were looking for a head coach figure to fit into the new structure, because now you've got obviously the sporting director, Dan Ashworth, technical director, Jason Wilcox, CEO. You've got obviously the interim director of recruitment and Christopher Vival. And it was widely thought that INEOS viewed it as the more modern approach, which is actually managers a bit passe. You know, you're looking towards head coach to coach just the team. And that's seemingly what Amorim is going to be. Well, not seemingly. He is going to be the head coach. He is going to be the head coach. What are your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, we needed it to happen. We needed some level of just official confirmation. We all know that he's going to be our manager. He was awkwardly in the presser the other day, and we're just all but waiting for it. And we were just sort of wrecking our brains only a couple of hours ago. Just like, how does it? Surely there has to be some form of official word before he speaks.
What's the timeline? Yeah,
and actually, we weren't wrong. We weren't wrong in that. Like the manager can't just. Or the new manager can't just go in a press conference with this
head coach.
Yet.
Head coach Flex. Head coach.
Used to that. I really need to get used to it. I've never said those words in my whole life as being a Man United fan. Never said head coach in my life, but we will have to get used to calling Ruben that for sure. But yeah, what we were saying this morning, basically, although the timeline might be off, the actual principles of He can't go and speak in a press conference if there hasn't been any official word. That just can't happen. So we was like, well, it's got to be before after that game, but before he speaks, it must be. So fair play. It's happened today. We knew it couldn't be during the game as well. That's not fair. What we didn't maybe envisage is because out of him saying, I don't want people to talk and just that my team and facing this. But they've obviously gone. The news. We've got to put the statement.
That's how the
out.
statement's short.
His
There's
player,
no quotes from Amorim.
There's no quote. And actually, that's
that makes
true.
Sense.
They've still kept it like he's like, I've got a job to do. I don't really want to. And you know what would be the interesting thing from here? It's like we're moving from one and moving the goalpost to another, actually. But now, what the next questions are is when would we get the proper? Would it be in that international break? Probably. Would it be? Would they just wait and say like? Because really, flying a camera crew out there to get his pictures done or get him here to, be around Carrington, walk around the stadium, take pictures of him not in the shirt, but, like his first in-house interview. You've got to get all that ready. So how do you do that? If he's in game mode for 3 more games, is there an acceptance that there needs to be a bit of a mix and match by that? Or is it like, no, you finish your last game and then you go off and do everything you need to do and they just have a fast turnaround?
Probably a bit of both. I remember when it was with Ten Hag, he was finishing up at Ajax. They had the picture of him with the shirt over his shoulder. If you remember that one, that's when he was still technically at Ajax.
So he was still there then. He hadn't actually got
with that one. With that picture, that was the one picture. And whether or not that picture was actually even a real picture, I mean, Photoshop's a magic thing nowadays. I think it's interesting. The fact that there's no quotes in there from him, to me, would suggest it's a bit like with a transfer. Sometimes they announce the transfer and then you get like they've arrived later on. I think probably that part would come. I think also it's very interesting that he's publicly just yesterday saying, I'll let you know everything after the game tomorrow. Well, we now have confirmation, don't we? So he can now speak much more freely and much more openly about the situation after the game today. It's also it's still a strange situation that he's got these games for Sporting that are actually really big games, which is why they wanted him to stick around. Man City, Braga, his former team. So I'm just seeing, as is always the case, whenever these announcements get made, a lot of information now coming out from the journos. Chris Wheeler kind of saying what we just said there, Flex, about the head coach title, saying he's been given this head coach title at Manchester United as, quote, he is a different profile from the previous managers and will fit in well with the club's football structure. So kind of like we were just talking about there, that title is very, very specific in the sense of it fits into the structure. Every time I talk, there's a siren.
Yes, because what you're talking about, Owen, is serious shit. This ain't no play. This is proper things you're talking about, bro. This is Manchester United. First head coach in our history?
I'll have my mute button. Like there'll be no noise. There'll be no noise, and I'll unmute, and then it'll go. Whoa.
This is what it is. This is what it is, mate. Like. It's massive. This is massive news. This is massive.
And like
news,
we were talking about earlier on, we touched on this earlier, that he becomes the youngest permanent Manchester United boss since Sir Matt Busby, of course, as we learned this morning. Sir Matt Busby came in charge of Manchester United when he was just 36. And Ruben Amorim is 39 years of age. So he becomes the youngest boss since Sir Matt Busby. And no, that does not mean I'm saying he's going to be as great as Sir Matt or anything like that.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Well, Samuel Luckhurst says Amorim, the youngest Manchester United manager / head coach since Wilf McGuinness replaced Matt Busby in 1969. A bold move and a vibrant profile of coach the club needed. A much needed clean break and will be fascinating to follow. I think that's kind of his part of it at the moment, isn't it? As well, of this, I'd say saltiness, but there was a bit of a hangover, wasn't there? There was a bit of a hangover from with Eric leaving, people not happy with how the situation unfolded. But a few days after that's kind of now settled, there is this feeling of anticipation, is there not? And also, I suppose this could go many of either way, depending on the next 3 games. But that feeling of anticipation could only grow. I mean, let's imagine the next 3 games don't go the way we want them to go. Yeah, Flex. We'll be desperate for November 11th.
Yeah, you just want to.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's very exciting.
It is very exciting, and you know what? We have to start remembering that excitement. I know I've said little things about being coy and just relax until he gets here, but this moment we can absolutely be excited. This is a new dawn for Man United. we don't know what's around the corner, and we're hoping it's going to be positive, but it's new. He deserves support. He deserves a good vibe. He deserves optimism. He deserves a chance. He deserves patience. He deserves, good feelings and excitement. So it's our job to create that and to give that to him and to express that, and make him feel welcome. He's our new gaffer, man. He's our new head coach. And from all the things that he's still a gaffer, though, isn't he? Could say that.
Yeah. By the way, Sporting have just released a statement as well, confirming that Manchester United have paid 11 million euros, which is 9.25 million pounds for Ruben Amorim. Furthermore, Sporting will have the benefit of 1.41 million pounds for the revocation and renegotiation of contracts. I think that includes the backroom staff and the notice period and those things that maybe delayed things just a smidge as well. So Sporting also releasing their own statement too.
Okay, well, we expect that. It's obviously for them and their supporters, whatever. Just letting everyone know how much peas we paid. Our thing, obviously when we put it, it's not Man United have today triggered the thing of Ruben Amorim and we'll be paying Sporting 10 million. It's not that. We're just saying he's the new coach. For the selling club, or that they're just, don't worry, fans, we got our money. We didn't just give them away. It was a release clause, and they need to do that because they need to show their fans that they've got the best manager since sliced bread in Portugal. They're doing amazing. Like you said, you saw that Sporting fan, really, really upset and crying, and getting their first title in 19 years and winning another one after that is massive for Sporting. So to them, their fans are going to be gutted, absolutely gutted. So from their hierarchy, they have to make sure they make it clear that there's a release clause. They came, they've paid it. We've got what we needed as a club. We didn't just surrender to big Man United and they came and took our manager. So that's why you'd get, us not saying that we paid that.
Interesting here as well, Flex. Ben Jacobs is saying that Ruben Amorim will not have a recruitment veto. Of course, that was a big part of Erik ten Hag's contract. Maybe the reason that Erik ten Hag didn't get a brand new contract this past summer was because of the change of title, the change of responsibilities, the recruitment veto, which was big for him for when he came in. And it looks like, and again, this is in keeping once more with this new title, the head coach title, the new structure, fitting in with Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Christopher Vavell, Omar Barada, etc. Is that your primary responsibility is to coach the men's first team. That is your primary focus. It's to coach that team. Not to say you won't be involved in that process. It's not going to be a case of, you turn up to Carrington, who's this? This is your new player that you've got. Not necessarily like that. I'm sure he will be involved. But as is the case with many a modern club now, that's how it really works. I mean, unless you are, a Pep Guardiola and, you can kind of call your shot when it comes to that. But still, there are people that will be working on this. This will be, scouting driven and
he has to do
recruitment driven.
He's got to get on with coaching the team. And, when you look at veto, just for extra emphasis, I just got the definition of veto. Because, we say these things, transfer veto, but some people might not even really take in what that term actually means or, but when you read it, a constitutional right to reject a decision or proposal made by a lawmaking body.
You can block it.
You can block literally anything. when you think how strong a veto actually is and what it actually means when you break it down, a constitutional right where the law, to deny something from the lawmaking body in this case being Man United, and the veto in this case, which was given to Erik ten Hag, i.e., I don't want him. No.
So no.
Do you know what I mean? Which is insane, which I wonder how far that carries though. Because, is it that everyone must agree on this one thing or it can't happen? Because if Erik ten Hag says, I don't want Ugarte, it's not I don't want him.
I think,
but you know what I mean?
From what I understand, he used to always say, didn't he? He had a veto and so did, the club basically.
Yeah.
So in
whose
the sense
veto
of
is more powerful?
And I'm sure it's one of those ones where it's like, it's in your contract. It's the only way I can compare it to, right? There used to be a thing in wrestling. Hulk Hogan, he had creative control in his contract. Yeah, that's what the clause was. That. And basically that meant he didn't have to do anything he didn't want to do, essentially, right? Which is kind of the same with this transfer thing, right? Erik ten Hag doesn't have to sign anyone he doesn't want to sign. Now, they always say, it's just in there for protection. I'll never actually use it. I'm never going to actually go, I'm vetoing this. Per my contract in a written letter, I do not want to sign player X or whatever. But when it's there, it allows you not to have to go to that point. You know what I mean? Going, look, we've all got to agree here. Whereas, because let's face it, still here, whilst he doesn't have a veto, what do we think is going to happen? You know, they go, Ruben, we're thinking of going to sign this player from this club. And if he goes, I think he's shit, they probably go, all right, then we probably won't sign him.
Probably won't do it. Yeah, because what we've got to take into account is if you're a good leadership team, and you'll
be involved anyway.
Yeah, and what they will be doing is going, obviously looking at the style that we're playing with this manager, and if they do their jobs properly, they should be able to identify players to go that style. But you'd be a fool, you'd be a shit leadership team to not listen to what the manager's saying to you. Like, I need a left wing back. I need them to be quick.
We're signing players for 4-5-1. You go, but I play 3-4-3. So what are you doing?
Yeah,
that just you wouldn't be doomed to fail.
So if he says, and look, I know we've been through this with Eric Ten Hag, so you've got to be very, very careful with this. But Gyökeres is very highly rated, right? Everybody knows that, right? If he was saying, I think we should, unless there's anything there where he can't take players from the Sporting, we don't know. But let's say he puts that forward as, we need a ready-made number 9. He can score now. He's mid-20s. You know, you've got Rasmussen and Xerxes and that, but like, I need my goal scorer. Like, for my system, he's perfect. I've just come from there. The release clause is this, so I know he would cut. You know, whatever. There'd be a fool not to listen to that. But there would also be a fool to go down. This manager doesn't have what Eric Ten Hag would have with the veto, but they'd also be silly to start going down that route of trying to sign every single Sporting player, every player who's played under Amorim. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit different because, say we sign João Paulinho now, we'll go, well, he's been in the Prem away from him. He was sick. Like, that's, you know, say it didn't work for him at Bayern, and like in the summer we went and got João Paulinho. Like, that's, you know, just say we did.
He's not playing as much as Bayern.
And he's not, that's what I'm saying. He's not, he's hardly played, he's hardly started. So if that happened, there's an element of, don't just get the guys that used to, you know, Ugarte's already won. Then if you've got Gyökeres. So what is interesting now is, I think Lil Yo-Yo just said it there in the chat. Now it is all eyes on INEOS.
Well, that's it. That was the other part of it. When you go back to with the veto with Ten Hag, that's why it was, I think, difficult too, because it was a veto that was put in place in an old structure. The old structure was John Murtough, Richard Arnold, and Eric Ten Hag with his veto. That's completely changed because you've got Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, Christopher Val. Like, it's entirely different
with no veto.
But when Eric was still there, it was like, I've got the veto, and they're like, yeah, but that was with how we used to work. We don't work like that anymore. That hierarchy's changed completely.
They had to change it. Yeah.
So that's why I say now that like you said, all eyes will be on INEOS now, because it would be right. You've changed everything now. You've overhauled everything. The old chief executive, gone. The old football director, gone. You've implemented technical director. He's moved into the coaching staff, but he's gone as well. Yeah. You've got completely, different projects. You've got new boards, new directors. You're
task
working on
force
these
for a new
projects.
stadium.
Exactly. You've now implemented strategically anyway. There's still things that are going to take a bit longer, but in terms of the executive branch of Manchester United's football department, you have implemented that now. So yes, it might take a while for results to start coming, but this is your vision. This is your vision. This is your plan.
Can we say, obviously, I know, outsiders will say, no, they screwed you. They should have got rid of this guy in the summer. They've put you 3 months behind. They gave him money, wasted. Cool, whatever. This might be their first L. But can we now officially say, with Ruben Amorim as the last big appointment, which is obviously
piece of the puzzle,
head coach, last piece of the puzzle. I know it sounds weird, but can we now officially say the INEOS era starts here? Like, it didn't, but like, do you know what I mean? Where everything now, unless there's something we're missing where they want a new financial guy or something person, or I don't know.
On the football side of things, their fingerprints are all over everything now.
Everyone's in situ. We're not waiting on anyone, are we?
Well, everyone now, again, on the football side of things is an INEOS hire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Barada, Ashworth, Wilcox, Vavel. I don't think of any other names. But, Amorim, even this backroom staff were INEOS hires over the summer, directed by Eric Fair. But also, this backroom staff's changing because we're bringing in Amorim. So actually, that's INEOS. That's INEOS hire as well. They've brought in new people on the medical side of things. Whether or not they're any good, time will tell. But it's from a football point of view. This is INEOS's puzzle that they put together.
The only thing left that they haven't done is have windows with this guy.
Yeah, they've well, yeah,
Yeah.
and even players they've started to bring in like many people said when they went, oh, Lenny or Ugarte, you know, they felt like INEOS signings. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So you sort of go, well, all right then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Xerxes, they just definitely De Ligt and Xerxes and Mazraoui, because you go, we don't even need to discuss why we know that thing.
the linked, yeah.
The linked, and the Xerxes thing just because he's Dutch. So you know, and then Rene Harker, Dutch, bringing in Ruud van Nistelrooy, club legend, so we want to see him there anyway. But
definitely like the Rene Harker one, you know what I mean? That's
his guy from Go Ahead Eagles. That's his guy.
Yeah.
You knew him, so you know, let's not all of these influences from Eric. You know, Anthony, influence from Eric. Martinez, influence from Eric. Onana, influence from Eric. Malacia, influence from Eric. Played against him when he was at Ajax and saw the final, saw the kid was all right, wanted to bring him here. Xerxes, Dutch, De Ligt, we know that. Mazraoui, we know that. Even down when it was Amrabat, it was a link. Mason Mount, less so. Played against him in Vitesse versus Ajax, but less so.
Yeah.
But like they were saying the other day, it was Eric Ten Hag who chose to give Mason Mount the 7 and all of this stuff. So look, and that didn't happen under INEOS. So what we are looking at now is true. This now is all INEOS now from Friday the 11th.
What says the INEOS era starting? Because I do agree in the sense of it started over the summer.
It started and they made a monumental F up
because their intention was for Eric to see the season out and for it to work. You know what I mean? They did not anticipate, you know, being 14th.
This is part right. So this is not a second go, but we have to. This
it's
is
a false start. It's a false start. You know what I mean? It's a false start.
We were talking about this with KG, and KG was like, no, because they didn't want to know. They didn't know, but I do realize it now. Now I'm more clear about it, and in hindsight, and I can correct myself. I'm not afraid to do that. Like the way they were looking at managers before that FA Cup final, they were so unsure on him. That showed me they didn't fully think that he was the right guy.
Yeah.
And they made a decision, and you live and die by decisions. They've died by that decision and had to rise again. No problem. That's what you do when you make a mistake, even in life. You hold your hands up, you own it, you fix it, you move on. Not saying that they're terrible for making a mistake. I'm just saying, let's admit that they did make one.
It's a 100-meter race. They go on your mark, get set. It's gone out the blocks too early, and they go, right, start again. Now, luckily, sometimes in those races, which is bullshit, by the way, in the Olympics, when that happens, they go, right, go home. And you're like, whoa, it's only a false start. But that's what maybe been like. And then, fortunately, this is maybe why it's similar to a false start, is that there's still plenty of race to go this season. You know what I mean? We are nowhere near the end of it, and we can still catch up, can't we? We can still catch up, which is also why they probably have made this decision too, because they think they still can catch up, and there's still stuff to win, points to be won. So yeah, but it is. But I think what you can definitely say is, looking at all the pieces that have been put together, and look at also just the amount of change at Manchester United over. I mean, INEOS got fully ratified in February of this year, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking like we're closing in on now a year since they were announced. That was Christmas Eve, wasn't it? I remember you in your car. That was on Christmas Eve that it got announced. Fully ratified in February. So you're talking what? March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So like in the last 9 months or so, 8-9 months, Manchester United fundamentally, you know, has radically changed inside and outside the club. Now you could say, well, on the pitch we're worse than ever, and fine. But from an organizational point of view, like if this was just any other company, pick a big company or whatever, and I said, oh, by the way, in the last 9 months, you've got a new CEO, new senior leadership, new directors, new executives, and like a new general manager, shall we say, you would go, bloody hell, that's a lot of change. And actually, sometimes when stuff like that does happen, kind of productivity or results does kind of go up and down because people are trying to find their footing and try to figure out what's going on. That what Man United actually probably do need now that all of these changes have been made and these foundations are where they should be, is they actually probably do need a bit of continuity now. They do need a bit of, you know, steadiness. That's what foundations are for, right? To keep things steady and to keep things secure. Now is the time to be like, right, we've got all the pieces in the place. Let's now just support, back, and get better, basically, because this is supposedly going to be the vision. Flex, that's going to take us back to where we need to go.
Yeah, it's exciting times, man. Let me get the super chats out. You guys are excited as well. Everyone's buzzing in the chat. Humphrey says the new Amorim era. Yes, it is. Owen, era or era for you?
Oh, that is a good one. That is a good one because I tell
Yeah.
you what, I find myself doing both.
Yeah, same. Because as I said era just
Era,
then,
era.
I was thinking I'll say both.
Is
What
that
is it,
like
guys?
is that an
What do you
accent
do?
thing? Era.
New era.
What would I say?
New era. Because
I
even
think
like
I
caps,
think
new
I
era
say
or new
era.
era caps.
I think I say era more than I would say era. I think.
It's a new era with one E. Mensa says era. Alexandra says era. Kristen says error, not error, as in an error, like a mistake. Do you know what? I think it's error. No, I think it's era. Because error, as in the word error, like you made a mistake. Would they have the same
But when
sound?
you have an EA, like your ear,
Yeah.
you go ear.
That's
So
yeah, but this ain't an EA though. It's EAR.
that's what I mean. So that would be error. Would it
Error.
not?
It's error. Yeah, it should be
Error?
error. Google pronounce. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Error meaning. There you go. Oh, that's eradicate.
Pronunciation.
Who thought we'd be doing this?
Oh, you know.
Ura.
Click.
Uhura.
What they went
No, that's eradicate. Oh, wrong way.
era?
Error.
Era. Error. Wow, interesting, Flex. Well, we've had a development, right? Okay, right.
What's going on? Is Rude staying?
When I click the UK one, no, fuck that. I
Oh.
listen to the
Oh.
era. Yeah. When I press UK, it says era. When I press US, it says error. So maybe
okay. So it's a mum thing.
error is US, era is UK.
So it's a
according to
tomato
this
tomato.
website.
It's a tomato tomato vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, is that what we're going with, guys? Are you happy with that in the chat? It's a tomato tomato vibe, depending on whether
Where
you're
you're
British
from.
or American, maybe.
According to
And
the
if you're
Cambridge
neither, maybe.
Dictionary website. There you go.
Okay. Well, we say error. We'll say error for now, anyway. Anyway, Humphrey says the new Amorim era / error. Hanson says, what I miss.
A lot.
You only miss Ruben Amorim coming in. Shenanigans says he has no transfer veto. That's what we've just been talking about. Big up to you. Madge is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Big up to you, Madge. Big warm welcome for you. And Ken says, can't wait for the Diva players to get exposed. Yeah, let's see if he weeds them out. And Nestor11 says, took the day off work and got to catch you guys live. Love this channel and the UV fam with a big fist pump. Big up to you, Nestor. I hope you enjoy your day off work, man.
A long weekend.
What? Let's say take your day off work and you're getting this type of news. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So big up to you, man. Like, I love that. So hope you're doing well in your day off. I was going to say something just then.
Was it the likes? Because we've got over 1,700 people watching and we've got just under 500 likes. We're 75 likes away from 500. So if you haven't already, click the like. But if there's not a time to like, Flex, when Manchester United have got a new head honcho, a new head coach, not a manager, a head coach, now is the time. So if you haven't already, click the like button. And while you're in the clicking mood, might as well subscribe whilst you're at it. I mean, you can see in the top right-hand corner there, getting very close to 180,700. So it's just over 300 subscribers away from 181. There you go. What you call it?
There you go. What you call it? Thingy.
With the thingy. The thingy moved to 181,000 on that long road to 200,000 thingy. You know what I mean? So it's my favorite.
Yeah, when I'm playing FIFA.
My favorite.
What a guy. I hope he's still listening right now as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I hope he's recording Best of Enemies now, actually, to be fair. He'd probably be done unless Expressions was late, which is also possible, which means KG would be late back for our recording.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another thing. What I do want to talk about, Owen, because I wanted to wait. We've explored this a little bit, but now it's official. We can now start to like really think of scenarios and think of decisions and players and formations and transfer windows and exits and incomings. We can really get into it now. Now we know he's our manager. With the current squad he's getting. Head coach. It's going to take me a while. It's going to take a while. A while. Anytime you're referencing the Man United manager, to just remember it's the head coach. We have to get used to that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say gaffer, right? Now he's our gaffer. And you guys get involved in the chat now. Let's really get into the team we have, how we think it's going to work, who can potentially thrive off this, who could potentially struggle of this, who could be a surprise package in this, and what type of targets now would you look at? I know it's very, very far forward, and January probably got to have that with a bit of caution because now they've had to spend, best part of 15 million doing this. You don't know what that's going to look like if they could sell Anthony or so. I don't know. January's tough, right? But definitely this summer. What sorts of targets, names that you may think of or know you think that would be really good to get player X now? Just with everything I've just said, what are you looking at? How you feeling?
It's funny you mentioned that because was it you I was talking to yesterday? Might have been someone else. That Sir Jim, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here because they were, like you said, there was a bit of concern about, now we've spent the money sacking Ten Hag, we've spent the money bringing in Amorim plus his backroom staff. There's going to be money left over for January, and there's a bit of confusion about whether or not that does count towards PSR or not. I think David Ornstein says it doesn't, but there was an article from The Athletic in which allegedly Sir Jim Ratcliffe's sort of response to it was, "Let's push it and see what they do." Basically, which I thought was, I mentioned before, was big billionaire energy, wasn't it? That is, let's see.
Is that what is what with PSR?
That's a guy that lives in Monaco, yeah, and left the UK when I'm going to go Monaco, and let's see what happens.
Is that what he said? What with PSR? Just push the limit, see what happens.
See what they do.
When did he say it's what? I didn't see that.
Which is funny. So you never know come January when it comes to all of that. As far as the shape and people coming into it, I was actually watching a couple of videos on it yesterday, actually, because like you said, when you play that system, your width comes from your wing backs, not from your wingers per se. And you would think Manchester United's wingers that we have at the moment are very much kind of out wide, cut inside, hug the touchline, cut inside onto your, if you're on the left-hand side, onto your right foot, vice versa, right? So Rashford and Gunn actually go, actually, how do they kind of fit there? And they were sort of saying that Rashford, because he has played as a striker, probably wouldn't struggle too much to be in those sort of two people that are behind the striker sort of thing. You could see that one working.
But that's if we play that. That's if we play the 1-2. If we play just a 3.
Well, this is what I mean. So they're saying sort of it's 3-4-3, but then you get the 2 in behind the number 9, right? And you would think likely one of them will probably be Bruno Fernandes, right?
It's got to be.
And they were sort of suggesting actually in some of these videos I'm watching, saying actually it makes a lot more sense suddenly the Joshua Zirkzee signing because that's where he would actually probably play behind a striker like that, right? Yeah. Or you could have Marcus Rashford there. But as far as the wingers, becomes like, say, a Garnacho becomes very, very interesting for him because where does he fit? Do they try it and have it like you're going to have to try and be a wing back? I don't know how that one's really going to work. Ahmad, you could see him playing as a bit of a in behind the striker role, couldn't you? He's played as a 10-ish before. And when they're in behind, they still split and go out quite wide. Yeah. But that's very interesting. Back 3, you would think it largely would pick itself, because you've got Martinez left centre back, De Ligt in the middle, and then Lenny Yoro on the right. But they were also sort of saying that what Amorim does kind of like is say that sort of middle centre back. They like him to actually be a quite progressive, carry the ball out quite far centre back, kind of actually break the lines, go into midfield. And if you look at De Ligt, you go,
he's not
really his best game. Actually, Leach is probably the best person for that. But then, where would you have De Ligt? So there are parts of that are interesting. Obviously, the biggest one, is the left wing back because we don't have a left back. Yeah. So what would we do with that? But they're natural things. But then that's also when you get back into players, your professional footballers adapt. If you don't, they say adapt or die. So you lose your Manchester United career if you cannot adapt. And INEOS will back Ruben Amorim, 100%. By the way, for that. If they don't fit, and Ruben Amorim says they don't fit, then they'll get rid. And 2, that's the job as a manager, right? You've got to make the best out of what you've got. So, some of those players, see if they can do it. If not, I don't know if he'll completely just remove his shape and just go, I'm not going to play 3-4-3, because from what they're also saying is, throughout his managerial career, Braga, Sporting, that is what he's played. He is pretty wed to the 3-4-3.
I think, here's the thing of where I think there has to be the slight adjustment, right? And I know it's like small things, but they're big things in terms of how the formation can look. You've got your 3-4-3, but you've also got your 3-4-1-2. Sorry, 3-4-2-1. Sorry, right? So that's the 3-4-2-1 is the one where you're saying you'd have two like inside 10s
and then two, yeah, like that.
Yeah. So, but then if he plays 3-4-3, that changes it all because that way you're saying the front three actually you keep that how it is. You say Rashford and Garnacho, you're high and wide, and whatever striker I'm going to go with. If he plays 3-4-3, it's more of a problem for Bruno, I think, because then you say, okay, are you just going to put Bruno as one of the centre midfielders next to Kobe /Ugarte/Casemiro? What are you going to do?
See, that's what I mean. That's why I don't think he'll do that. That's
right.
Why I don't think
but then, right, exactly. But then I'm thinking the types of wingers that we actually have. Ahmad can play in that inside. He's technical enough that would probably suit him. But when you look at Rashford, and this is why it's going to be so interesting to see what happens when you look at Rashford and Garnacho. So far, what they've definitely Rashford has shown us this, but even Garnacho in his early stages of career, they are very much high and wide wingers. Very much so. You wouldn't really want them in pockets. Now, this is where you've got to be open-minded. You know, I don't see Rashford as someone who can work well in a pocket, half spaces, get on a half turn. He doesn't. To me, the best Rashford we see is when he has grass to run into, space to run into, and he's wide and he comes from outside to in. Now, this is where the beauty of Ruben Amorim's coaching can come into play because something I just can't think I can see could happen. You know,
but they're not stuck in those positions as well. That's the other part of it. So when it's then
off the ball, you might say
it might actually be
free. Yeah, it might
Bruno's
be a bit of a hybrid.
10. Rashford actually, you'll go back.
And that's what's going to be fascinating. But depending on which one he plays, someone's going to have a problem because the players that we have weren't bought for this. So it's going to be
adapt or die.
Adapt or die, and it's going to be a system of how much will Ruben Amorim adapt in the early stages when he hasn't got quite what he wants? Will he be very, very strict on? I don't give a shit who we've got. This is what we will play until I build exactly what I need. Half of these lot can do it, so I'm fine with that. The other half, I'll start phasing them out. That will take a while, but I'm just saying. Or does he go, you know, I'm at a big club. There's some big players here that I'm actually lucky to have. I'm lucky to be walking into Rashford, Bruno, this Kobe Mainu kid, this Garnacho kid. I've got Martinez, a ball playing centre half. I've got De Ligt, who's very experienced. I've got this young Yoro kid, who's fantastic.
Ugarte back.
I've got Ugarte back, so I know all about him. I mean, Ugarte now, you look at it. I know, like when Eric got here, and
pivotal, hasn't he?
Might be the name on the team sheet.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think about it, if you're Ruben Amorim and you need a voice in the change room. I'm not saying Ugarte's the loudest in the change room, but you want someone who can lead by example to bed in. He's one less problem you got to think about how you get the players to be comfortable. So if you're Ruben Amorim, you're going, I know what he can do for me. I know why he got the move to PSG. He was unbelievable with me. He's going to be one of the first names on the team sheet in midfield.
When I'm looking to, win the ball back, and have those I know that's what he's going to do.
Can do it.
It's also very interesting as well when you look at the statistics that Sporting got I think it's like third highest line in Europe. Like they got a very, very high line. However, some of the other people that are very close to that are other teams, top teams in Portugal. I think Benfica and I think Porto are also in that. So we have to take that with a pinch of salt because the suggestion is, well, maybe that just kind of shows that those teams in Portugal, they can do that. If they're a big team, teams are going to sit off them. Like it was the same. Remember when you actually went out to Amsterdam and spoke to the Ajax fans and they said, well, yeah, we can play out from the back because teams just basically don't bother trying to press us because, out of almost respect or fear. Whether or not he'll be able to have that high of a line at Manchester United would be debatable because then also you then look at the pace of our centre backs. You look at the pace of the defenders, right?
Exactly.
If you're looking at De Ligt and Martinez, and particularly to be fair with Licha as he's got at United, he's not as slender as he used to be or whatever. He's actually bulked out a little bit more and he's not as quick maybe as he once
and
was.
He's just not as far and he's not as fast as we maybe think he is. He's not rapid.
De Ligt's not super fast either. No. Leniora we did see from the very brief appearances that we did see in pre-season, good recovery pace. He can recover pretty well. You'd probably say in terms of your centre backs, he's probably our quickest centre back actually. So
Yeah.
You know, thinking of from a recovery point of view, you're going, okay, that. But in terms of playing the high line with quicker
Owen.
defenders, you're going.
Owen, this is where you see when they were INEOS were badly trying to get Jared Brantwaite.
You can see why, can't you?
Look at that. Look at that. Because I'll tell you what, one more year at Everton, price will come down more than what it was last year. I think they go back in for him. I do. I've got a feeling.
Well, and then what? Jared Brantwaite's is he your left centre back, or is he that one in the middle? Like I'm saying, actually,
either or.
Out forward.
Yeah, either or. Put it this way. Obviously, we like Leacher. He's good. And I'm not saying that Brantwaite's better than him. And Brantwaite's actually had a tough start to the season, been injured. So
he's been on the bench as well. Yeah,
because he's come back from injury. So he might have a season that wasn't as good as the last couple, where his stock might drop, and you go, he's even that good. But he's a good centre half. Get him cheaper. We just shouldn't have been entertaining, which we didn't. Which I'm glad we didn't pay in 70-80 million for him. Good. Yeah. So you go and get Lenny Yoro. That's fine. But what I will say is someone like him, if he was in our squad now, that would be a good signing. That would, Amorim would like that, and you can see why they wanted him so bad.
These conversations that we're saying with the tactics, and that's why I would recommend people to just. I watched one on, was it the Overlap Breakdown? They did a really good one on it. There's loads out there, isn't there? You can watch that kind of stuff, and it is just interesting. Like you said, when you think of sometimes when you just think of players that can fit, so like we've just done there, you go, oh, okay, it'll be Yoro, Delic, Martinez, which is what it will probably be. But then you have to have almost the deeper conversation of going, all right, they could play there. But how well could they actually play there for that? And what adjustments would Amorim maybe have to make? Because we're talking about adjustments. Sometimes you think, oh, he's going to change shape. He probably won't change shape, but does he change his instructions or his intensity of certain aspects of his instructions? So that high line, do they drop just a yard or two instead of it being that high with the players that he's got at the moment? Is that what he considers doing? When it comes to the left wing back, he's probably going to have to do the same thing that Erik ten Hag had to do, which is I'm going to have to play Mazraoui there for the time being. Maybe we'll have a look at it in January, see if we can get a loan, just so we can have some balance out there. To your point, okay, is it a 3-4-3 with wider wingers, or do I want to do what I have done before, where actually it's kind of inside 10s? But even that, would it be a hybrid where Bruno is really an inside 10, but that other person, like let's say it's Rashford, can actually drift more out to the left-hand side? Those are really interesting things that, as a fan, I'm curious to see what he's going to do. And I think there must be things that he's thinking of as well. But that's always the trouble you have coming in mid-season with players that aren't totally yours and implementing your system on the players and not getting players to fit your system, because he won't have time to do that, obviously, until even the winter window. There's not a lot they can really do anyway, even if we're flush with cash. It'll be in summer.
We have to accept that. And actually, Andy Mitten says here, which is, again, another interesting point. And these things are interesting because this isn't negative. These are like real life issues that Ruben Amorim is walking into.
Questions.
What we can't do is just, again, get lost in this. Like, we got the most young, exciting coach, 3-4-3. We're cooking. No, let's look at the problems and issues and questions he's going to have to face / answer. And these are legit. And Andy Mitten says, Man United players have proven themselves capable of playing in chunks of games. Fact. And can even rise to win big matches. Fact. But how many are great and would get into a rival side? It's a complex dressing room that Ruben Amorim will inherit. And he puts detail here. He's obviously written a piece for The Athletic. But he's so right. He's so right, because this is what we're talking about here. It's one thing being at Sporting and having this really nice system and doing great things there. You cannot scrub that off Ruben's CV. He's done it. There's a reason why he's highly tipped in the football space, right? But coming to our club, where we know it so well, guys, we know it inside out. We are very aware of all of the issues, all of the mismanagement, all of the poor money spent, all of the players that we got with high expectations who we now look at sideways and go, Some of the players who have been our big players, who've got big contracts again and again, Bruno, Rashford, Shaw, and you go, I don't know. These are big questions. How many of our players are great? How many of our players will get into other rival sides? So how much work does Ruben Amorim have to do in terms of replacing those with players who are, or doing something that, let's be honest, no manager's done before with said players, and get a lot out of them? Potent scorers, consistent tacklers, high volume of assists, good high volume of pass success, and all these things. How do you do that? These are the questions. These are the questions you need answering. I was going to ask one thing as well. Marcus Rashford as striker, discuss in this system.
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I was just reading again because I was looking at some of these the videos yesterday talking about him, and they were saying actually, interestingly, for Amorim sides is sometimes he can be a bit more direct with the way that he plays. Not in the sense of long ball FC, and not to say that he won't want to sort of dominate possession, but the idea that we're going to be passing it, like sometimes City do it and they pass it to death kind of thing. The suggestion that he would do that isn't always the case. They were sort of saying, actually, it can be 2 or 3 passes, actually play some counter-attack-ish, it would almost feel like. And I thought, actually, well, if that's with this group of players, then maybe that ain't the worst thing in the world. Because we know that the one thing that those players can do is actually counter-attack.
Yeah.
When it comes to actually dominating a game, not so great at that.
Say no. Someone said
Rashford playing up front, no.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you, All Elite. It's Rasmus. One word, flex. No. Flex United view. Never. Amorim.
This was the stat. This was the stat I was looking for. So I was looking for the stat because I wanted to make sure I got it right. Sporting topped the charts in Portugal for both build-up attacks, 126. So that is that more kind of pass, wait for the space, but also direct attacks, 74 last season.
It topped it for both.
Yeah. So there is this suggestion that it's not just dominate possession, sideways, wait for it to open up, pass it to death. Like it can be much, much quicker, much more direct. Whether it is ball over the top, ball into space, 2 passes, then get the shot off, which that will be interesting again to see coming in with the players that I've got. Is that what we talked about this morning? Sort of longer term progression. Longer term, do I want to try to build up our sort of build up attacks? But as of right now, particularly with how bad we are away from home, by the way,
exactly.
And we got some big away games coming up against some good sides. Does he go, actually, I'm just going to sort of be a bit more, I'll emphasize that sort of direct attack part. I'll emphasize just being a bit more lethal on the break, and then that more technical side of things, hopefully we can build up. Because we also know that some of the players in the team technically are pretty shit and can't pass the ball. So play to their strengths whilst you've got them initially, just to get the ball rolling. Yeah,
no, I agree. I only suggested that Rashford thing, just again, out of being totally open-minded. Whether there's just I agree with you guys, that wouldn't be my preference at all. But, with some of the attributes he does have with running that way, definitely not with hold-up play or back to goal or anything like that. Rashford is null and void when he can't see the goal, in my opinion. That's not his position. He needs to always be able to see where he needs to go. I think you need to make it very simple for Rashford. And when he's in that mode of, I can just get past someone, I can drive, I can do what I need to do, that's when you get the best out of Rashford. So it's open-minded.
And also as well, I just sent you a link to Flex. This
I'm just looking at it
now. If you look at the average positions in this game for Sporting, you can actually see a bit of a hybrid of those 2 players that were playing behind the 9. So you got the 17 there that's actually way closer. That's more of an inside. That's kind of a 10. That would be your Bruno role. And then that 20 is actually quite wider, closer to the wing back. And maybe that's what he might do. Maybe if he does go over Rashford.
Oh, fucking hell. I was looking at it the wrong way around. Oh, yeah, number 1's a goalkeeper. I was like, fucking hell. The striker's way out there.
If you look at it the other way around, like I said, you could see actually that 20 could be a Rashford in that system that's actually a bit wider. And the 17 is more of a Bruno. It's actually that's a bit tighter in.
Actually,
support.
Oh, it literally says attacking direction right there. Didn't read that bit. Do you know what? Seeing it like that, because really we were playing the 4-2-3-1, but building up with the 3 anyway, because we had the left back. Well, in recent years, it's been the right back. Well, whichever one it is, usually Dallo, whichever side he's playing on, inverting to make that 3 anyway. But this is interesting because, when you do look at that, it's building up with that 3. The 21 and the 11 are the left and right wing backs, respectively. And that inside, that number 20, that literally could be Rashford. That could be Rashford.
I'll just put it on the screen for everyone. They can see it right there.
Yeah.
So you can see what we kind of mean in that the 17 you could see as a Bruno Fernandes-ish. And the
same
20
area.
You could see as a Marcus Rashford, which is not totally close to the 9, actually a bit more there with closer to the left wing back. You could possibly see something like that.
What's so important, Owen, and obviously we know this from, if you look at that 11 and 21, obviously as the wing backs, like you say, you get your width from them. They've got to be like we've got Dallo now has really got to step up in that department of like he's had a bad season so far, but if there's something you could think about Dallo as being good at and stuff, is being on the ball, is being technically sound, is bombing on, getting crosses in. Mazraoui less so, but I think he's comfortable. He'll be comfortable enough to play one of those. But I don't think now that he would be, the top. Now you're looking at like you want that speedster. You want someone who's up and down, like solid, quick, powerful. I want that because they've literally got to give us the width up and down both sides. Because if we do play with these inside 10s, the width ain't going to come from them. Not on a consistent basis. They might find themselves in wide areas there combining with the wing back at times on the overlap. I'm not saying look, it's not so like inflexible that it's like on an attack. It's like no, it's not netball. No, I can't go in that region. I can't go there. Oh, I'm a center. I'm goal attack. I'm goal shooter. I can't go. I can't cross. No, it could be fluid. So Rashford's not going to go. I just can't go wide. I can't go there at all. You got to pick your moments. But I do think that relationship with the wing backs for them inside forwards as well is going to be massive, because if they don't give us enough width or don't go up and down enough, the players that we've got, I don't see them being like technically sound enough to play some really, really nice stuff in them small little spaces. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe as we get better, again, the system will make it look very different. But these are the things. These are the things where it's exciting. These are the things where it's like, wow, how is this going to look, man?
What's exactly. I was just looking at another one in that article as well. They got this once again these like picture of Man United's tackles, and this was like a year or so ago or something. Man United don't win the ball at all in the middle of the pitch.
It's not on the right hand side.
There's nothing in the middle of the pitch.
There's actually nothing.
Which is why maybe like they, someone like a Nugate in this system is so important in the sense of. Like you've got to be winning the balls in those central areas. That is the biggest example of like the donut system that Man United have, which is just nothing in midfield.
We lost 2-0 at home to Tottenham in 2023.
That must be when we played them at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, mustn't it?
I was going to say that wasn't at Old Trafford. I was thinking, I don't remember them coming.
That must be. Because if that's August 2023, it's beginning of last season. That was second game, wasn't it? I think so. That must be the wrong way around.
In 2-0 defeat to Tottenham. Hole in the middle of the pitch. But anyway, but what it basically says is Man United's tackles. Have you put that on screen? No.
I can put it up on screen now.
Okay. Man United's tackles and interceptions in a 2-0 defeat to Tottenham in 2023 neatly shows Ten Hag's donut issue. The hole in the middle of the pitch. The hole in the middle of the pitch. Note how few defensive actions take place in central midfield area. And you know what? That's such telling. It's such a. It's literally 1, 2. You could class 3, maybe 3. You could just about say.
But it's like I said. There's nothing in the middle. There's very little actually pressing from the front as well. It's in the opposition.
Yeah,
the
I'd love to see. I'd love to see other teams' ones.
Yeah,
I'd love
exactly.
To see, I'd love to see how we. But what we can clearly see exactly. So your main engine room where everything is supposed to happen is non-existent. And guess what though? Are we surprised to see that? No, because we're literally seeing that with our eyes. We're seeing teams just run through us on the counter attack. So when Casemiro gets hooked at half-time against Liverpool, and rightly so because he was poor, it was a common theme, not just for him. It happened. It doesn't matter who was in there. Kobe was getting run past. Mason Mount, the few games he's played, getting run past. Eriksen getting run past. It didn't matter who it was. We have massive issues in midfield. It wasn't until really this season, even though we've been poor, hence why Eric got sacked, that level of running through us is a little less this year. I would have said that because we were more compact and we were like 4-4-2 off the ball. We were more compact, but still nowhere near good enough, of course. But I could definitely see what was going on there. Right. Eminem says before we wrap up, hold on, let me go. Oh, no, way there. After Nesta. Han says, feel Rashi and Ghana would struggle as winning backs. Yeah, I think they would, and I don't think they were going to be asked to be. That's one thing you can do, is try and convert attacking players into playing slightly deeper and say you've got to have a hybrid and learn the defensive side. I don't think Rashi and Garnacho are the guys for that. But stranger things have happened. You know what I mean? Ban to Cod says, supported the channel from day dot. Keep up the good work. Love from Perth. Love that. All my Perth family. Been Perth a couple of times. I love it. Glad Eric Ten Hag got a chance, but I'm now ready for a new era. Glory Man United. Now it's just in my head. I'm just like,
there's like a dramatic pause before you say it as well. For a new era.
I know. Falcon Shuffle says we needed a coach, head coach, who enforces his ideals, and fans who will back him even if the start is rough. Up the effing Reds. 100% agree with that. And Michael M says Antonio Conte won the league with 3-4-3 with his right wing back. Yeah, I remember that. It's about time our players adapt to a system rather than a manager trying to fit these underachievers in. Let's go, Ruben. Excited. And Eminem says Rashi not a touchline player. He's best as an inside forward. Interesting. Close to the box and striker. Will fit in fine. Garnacho is young and can be molded. That's interesting. So you don't see Rashford as his best work is done from outside to win, chalk on your boots, get at your man, run at him, weave in, bob in. You see him as an inside forward, close to the box, and as a striker. Fair play. A lot of people don't see him as that. Ken says, why is Rashford guaranteed to start? He's trash. Okay, well, one thing I do think is that Ruben Amorim will again play the big players. They'll want to be getting them on side, and if you can get Marcus Rashford confident and playing well, then he's a big threat. I don't think we should forget that. But I get it. He hasn't been good for a long time.
The narrative will already be there when that first Ruben Amorim starting 11, by the way, it contains Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford. Those bloody contract clauses. These contract clauses, Flex, they're there. Yeah. You know what I mean? They've got to play a specific number of minutes, blah, blah, blah. We weren't saying that when Eric and I was taking Rashford off a bunch of times this season, by the way. That contract clause suddenly vanished, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Very, very stupid. Dominic says, if you close your eyes, Amorim sounds like CR7.
He does.
A lot of people have said that. Not that much. A little bit.
He does.
A little bit. Not. I think he speaks a bit better English than
he does.
Ronaldo.
I didn't hear it until someone went, close your eyes. And they didn't say it's Ronaldo. They said, close your eyes and who do you think it is? And I thought, bloody hell, it does sound
maybe
like
I have to do
Ronaldo.
that then. Maybe I have to have a little listen. Yeah. I haven't really heard it. And I saw that Diogo Dallo on Ruben Amorim to Sky. I don't know when they've done this or how. I don't know.
It might have been, maybe this could possibly be in the build up to the game on Sunday, by the way. They would have done
it. And they probably just knew that it would be announced by then, so kept it in the bag. But Diogo Dallo says on Ruben Amorim, he is a fantastic coach, very demanding. That is what I can expect. And I think that is a perfect match for a club like this. He has very high standards. So, let's take a while to see. Oh, he says a bit more as well. He comes from a big club in Portugal, but Man United almost quadruples the amount of exposure, intensity, and pressure. Fact. But in Sporting, he was more than able to deal with it, so I'm sure he will be able to deal with that. Dallo also says, Dallo quotes here, I think the Premier League really suits people from Portugal. We have this culture of constantly trying to prove ourselves and trying to fight for a place because we come from a small country. It's been all over the years, managers and players. It's actually a visual as well now, video. Hold on. He knows what he wants. Very demanding. Sorry, I'm doing like a Kate Abdo pretending it's in a different language and that I'm translating.
No, I think it is
it is a piece.
It's an interview that they've done before the Chelsea game. Of course, that's Super Sunday, isn't it? So yesterday is when they have their interview days and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And like you said, I'm sure probably maybe unofficially they go to the Man United people. So Amorim, when's that getting announced? Maybe put that out tomorrow after 12. That kind of thing.
And they let Sky ask the questions like he's there because they're like, it's all done. It will be done by Friday, so you can put this out. Well, this is interesting. I'm gonna have to watch the full version of this. Actually, I want to see that. So check that out on Sky Sports Premier League, and I'm probably their YouTube or whatever to see what Dallo had to say. Obviously, the quotes will be out on all the aggregators, but if you want to watch it, there's a clip there as well. Let me double check here. That is it. Yeah, we're good. We've got 770 likes, so well done. More shows to come. Also, what is already out is the preview with myself and Matisse. So I tell you what you do. Leave here right now and go over and watch that until you've got from now until 6 p.m. To take that in, and a little bit afterwards. There's no
rush.
Time, no rush. Yeah, it'll still be there. It's not getting taken down in that time. But go check it out. Go check it out. It's a really good preview. And make sure you guys go and see what me and Matisse had to say about the game on Sunday as well. So, yes, right, guys. Ruben Amorim is the new head coach of Manchester United. It is a new dawn, a new era, all done, officially confirmed. And the next thing we've got to do really now is just wait to see what he says tonight, which will be interesting further. So, yeah, take care, guys. We're out of here. New head coach settings, new dawn. Let's go. Over to you, Rude, now. Peace.